Should California pay nearly $1 billion a year to substantially increase arts and music education in its public schools? That is the question voters will have to consider with Proposition 28 on the November ballot. In California, the state government covers most of the costs of public schools, with its share of school funding totaling more than $90 billion this year. The state also requires public schools to provide instruction in visual and performing arts, but for the most part, doesn't set aside money specifically for these programs. Most schools don't have full-time arts or music teachers. Prop 28 would require that the state allocate new spending for arts and music education, equaling at least 1% of its public education budget. This amount would be on top of existing state constitutional requirements for public education spending. That's nearly $1 billion in new spending starting next year, most of which would go to hiring new arts and music teachers. Prop 28 would not raise any new money to pay for this mandate, so it would come out of the state's general budget. Prop 28's funding would be distributed based on two factors. 70% would be allocated to school districts and charter schools based on their share of statewide enrollment, and 30% based on their proportion of low-income students. Supporters of Prop 28 include education interest groups such as the California Teachers Association, the California Dance Educators Association, and the California Music Educators Association. Business executives such as Steve Ballmer, the former CEO of Microsoft, and Andy Mooney, CEO of Fender Musical Instruments, and public education officials including former superintendent of the LA Unified School District, Austin Buettner, the largest donor to Prop 28. Supporters argue that Prop 28 would help support California's creative economy by providing students with the skills they need to succeed in creative industries, ensure that every California public school student has access to arts and music education, and ensure that students of color and low-income students receive the same access to arts and music education. While there is no organized opposition campaign, some editorial boards, including the San Jose Mercury News, have come out against the initiative. Opponents argue that Prop 28 would increase spending without any way of paying for it, give the California legislature less flexibility to change its budget during times of recession, and lead to less spending on other important state programs. In summary, a yes vote would require California to spend an additional 1% of the state's education budget on arts and music education in public schools. A no vote would not require the spending. The legislature and local districts would continue to decide how much to spend on arts and music education in public schools. So, what do you think? How will you vote on Prop 28?